My friend Ramesh Prabhu, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and friends. Without wasting any time, I will only try and touch the practical aspects. Point number one, redevelopment is very good. In fact, if you take it positively, it will improve the quality of your life. Before we plunge into the topic, I will share with you few things, though not directly related to redevelopment, but very important for us. The first judgment, as you can see, is of Supreme Court as well as of the Bombay High Court. The gist of the judgment is bylaws do not have the force of law. Repeatedly in cooperative societies, we are talking in terms of bylaws, so and so, but that is not law. Please understand the difference between bylaw and law. Bylaw, byla sarka manus. Bylaw. और सेक्रेटरी को सब मेंबर बोलेंगे बेचारो बाइलो छे. Normally, the whole guidelines, 3rd January 2009, rests on the circular. That circular, in my view, need not be complied with, but indirectly we are compelled to comply with. I will come to it slightly later. But this second judgment of Mayfair Housing Private Limited, developer cannot go to cooperative court because he is not a competent party as laid down under Section 91 of the Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act. So if developer wants to challenge anything, he has only to approach he cannot go ahead to cooperative court. And why developers do not challenge and try to please the last few members? The answers are very simple. Court fee of rupees 3 lakhs have got to be paid. Average lawyers also may be costing 5 lakhs rupees. So whether he wins the case or not, if the demand of the member is less than 8 lakhs, in my view, it will not make a good sense to fight the matter if that is only one person. Because this is an assured expense, but there is no guarantee that you will win the case. We have repeatedly heard in societies that 25,000 is the maximum amount that can be charged at the time of transfer of flat. Bylaws also stipulate that maximum amount under as per as laid down by our bylaws is towards share premium is 25,000. But supposing a society has taken certain precautions and takes a letter from the member that I am giving voluntary donation. Here is a Supreme Court judgment which goes on to say that you can take any amount as voluntary donation and you are helpless. Even recently in one of my matters also 5% amount was there and ad interim we have got to stay. The crux of the issue is you have to be very, very cautious, not after the event but before the event. Ultimately, when the matters goes in courts, what has transpired till yesterday plays a vital role, and you have to plan out your thing. It is not a thing which comes to you on a type paper from the builder's lobby and you just sign it. You have to see that you are protected duly. I am not going much into the redevelopment circular because this particular circular has already been clarified, the modalities pertaining to the circular. This 20% bank guarantee has to be taken for the amount equal to 20% of the project cost. These are the contents I just copied from the guidelines. During the period of redevelopment, the developer will make available to the members alternate accommodations in the same area as far as possible or arrange to pay monthly rent so and so. No one talks more about the circular except for getting the possession. But even after that, there are certain responsibilities. We heard about occupation certificate, but our focus should not be on occupation certificate in my personal view. It should be on getting the building completion certificate. I may add that as per the information obtained under the Right to Information Act, only 8% of the societies in Bombay are having 8% of the constructed buildings in Bombay are having the building completion certificate. So you can imagine how much laws are being flouted. Here is a High Court judgment, which I was telling you, that is circular pertaining to 3rd January, High Court judgment 8 March 2010 in the case of Harsha CHS. The relevant para, it is argued on his behalf that by government notification issued under section 79A of the MCS Act, a registered architect on the panel of the government was to be selected and the procedure as shown therein required to be complied, which is not done and which violated decision of the society. There was a society went for redevelopment, they did not comply with the circular. The next para, observations of the judge are relevant and I am reading it out. The reliance upon the government notification is itself misplaced. When the members of the cooperative housing society, which under the law of cooperation decides by a majority of 11:1 members, that society premises be developed in a particular fashion by a particular developer, it will be contrary to the principles of democracy by which the society is governed for the sole dissenting member to interfere and require a procedure not required by the majority of the members to be followed, which will only consume time and be counterproductive. The crux of the thing is this judgment. I leave it for you all to dissect it and understand that there is absolutely no reason to comply with this circular of 3rd January. But friends, I would like to add, this is a continuation part of the judgment only, the first 3 lines. The government resolution will be required to be followed by the society where the members are unable to come to any decision by a resolution of their own. Obviously, a resolution is passed, so there is some decision. But because High Court has said, we cannot comment further. Now see, what the crux of the point is, why we are complying with this government resolution of the cooperative department, not because of the fear of the cooperative department. But tomorrow as a builder, if anyone comes to me, I would like the building to be constructed, and for that I have to apply to the BMC. Very smartly, somehow there is an IOD condition that you comply with this particular circular, then only this IOD is valid. If the IOD states that condition, you are literally helpless, and that is precisely what is happening. High Court has said there is no necessity, but when you come to BMC, any architect you go, he says we have to comply with, there is no substitute, and because the circular somewhere it has been obtained in the last few months. Now there is no option but to either challenge this thing or to comply with it. As I mentioned earlier, if a few members are dissenting, as a businessman, what will a builder do? He has to pay 3 lakhs rupees in court. He has to pay a good amount to a lawyer to fight the case in court. And is there any guarantee that things will come across his swing in his own way? A few more skeletons will come. The compliances of 79A, which we heard so much, compliances, this thing to be done. So indirectly, when the stakes are in a few lakhs, the advice or a practical approach of a developer will be settle the last tenant for whatever extra amounts which are being taken. Now we start with some judgments pertaining to redevelopment. I will go fast because the time factor has to be kept in mind. The crux of the judgments is non-cooperating members of housing society who are in minority cannot hold up redevelopment, and the decision of the majority is binding. This is the crux of the judgments which is there. But friends, I would like to share with you a few things. If your society is going for redevelopment, we have to presume that 5-10% are going to oppose the redevelopment. But what is equally important is, please don't get carried away and sign on dotted lines. Apply your mind at every stage. Don't trust anyone is my fundamental submission to this house and to all people, including your own committee members. With utmost due respect to the committee members present here, my submission to one and all is all major decisions should be routinely taken in special general body meeting when it comes to redevelopment, because there are ample instances where the managing committee members are nothing but refined estate agents acting for the builder. So please trust him, but don't trust him blindly. That is my submission. When a society is going for redevelopment, please read the 3rd January 2009 and ask specific compliances from the managing committee, builder, and the time barring thing, the flow chart, bar chart. by which date what will be complied with. Your question in redevelopment should be such that indirectly he speaks up the thing which you want. Let me share with you a few things in a practical way. 99% of the documents which we see fail to appreciate a few things. Let's start with the tender. In my view, the tender should have one particular column of mentioning all the proposals given by the builder to the prospective customers. Second, the proposals where he has been selected, the date on which he signs the DA, the date on which he obtains IOD, the date on which OC is obtained, the date on which he obtains the building completion certificate, apart from the routine information like the financial things and the court cases, etc. that have come up in his career. This was just an example glimpse of the tender. Now coming to the agreement. Your agreement should be watertight. There should always be an exit clause and a lien of 10% in the property till receipt of building completion certificate. The pulse of any redevelopment for a cooperative society member, the barometer is the building completion certificate. If you are able to hold on his funds till building completion certificate, give reasonable profit to the developer. I am not against giving profit margin. You should, on the contrary, give profit to the developer so that he does not cheat you in an unknown way. Give him reasonable profit, but always insist for building completion certificate, and 10% of the property should only be sold by him after he obtains the building completion certificate. That also you can relax. 5% he may sell it after getting the occupation certificate, and the balance 5% of the total area constructed after getting the building completion certificate. There are many things which, as ladies, when you cook food, you put oil and masala so it becomes tasty. So our managing committee should involve a few ladies in the selection process of the developer, and you may call it emotional blackmail. Some talkative ladies, mature ladies should bluntly tell the developer that the gents are staying outside the house, we are staying in the house, and we are not going to listen anything, but above our WC, we want sufficient space so that we can store our goods. We know 6 feet is the normal height, and above that if the storage has to be given. So at least 3.5 feet, that much become 3 to 4 feet. So you get a reasonable decent height of 10 feet. Your space that is being offered to you should not be measured in terms of length and breadth. You should also measure it in terms of length, breadth and height. Earlier we had the door, and above the door there was a window. But the new trend is the window has gone everywhere. Ultimately, you have to store your things in your house. And if you have a better height, take it from me, the benefit is immense in the long run. Other point is, there should be a clause in the agreement that there should be no concessions taken by the builder from the municipal authorities. The clauses which you want, because see today, if open space parking deficiency premium is paid and taken, ultimately you are going to fight with your neighbor for parking space. And if there is some space available in the long run, that will be of immense help to you. Which clauses you want to emphasize, you should always emphasize with the word notwithstanding anything contained to the contrary. So what happens is that clause in the legal terminology is a superior clause. We have seen many development agreements where builders have not made the individual members agreement. 10 years down the line you want to sell the flat or you want to take a bank loan for some purpose. If there is no agreement, do you think the future prospective purchaser will be comfortable? Do you think the prospective purchaser's bankers will give him loan on that property? So at the end of the day, it is you who may suffer if you have not taken the proper precautions for development. This was just a glimpse of some of the things which we should include. There are quite a few things apart from that. Now these judgments, I am telling you, similar judgment as that minority cannot be taken decisions. Next judgment was on the same lines. Decision, basically see what happens is, society is the owner of the property. The member on the basis of the share certificate gets a right to occupy the flat. Your flat may cost 2 crores or 5 crores. but it is a 250 rupees share certificate. Now the share certificate will be of 500 rupees, which is costing so much money. So you don't have a legal entity. Now supposing your society does something wrong, they collude with the developer, or you are not happy with this thing, then you should not remain a silent spectator. It is expected from you to go to the cooperative court under section 91 of the MCS Act and challenge the decision of the society that they have acted in a manner detrimental to the interest of the society. It should be argued that this is a case of oppression of the minority by the majority. And you have to highlight what all wrong things have been done in the society with regards to redevelopment. That is very important. It's not a stereotype blanket label that registrar's permission obtained, everything is over. You have to convince the court that you have got a cause of action and legal injury is caused to you. When you go to the court, what is expected by the court from you? That balance of convenience. Ad interim injunction is granted only in case of urgency. You have to convince the court that there is an urgency. Money claim is not a claim which amounts to urgency. I recollect Justice Bilal Naqvi making a statement without naming the party that if two brothers, influential, rich industrialists are fighting, they have got money, they may spend any amount for fighting. But there is another case where one son has come to me with a submission that my parent is lost. For me, this matter is more important because that person has got money. If he loses a few crore rupees, it makes no difference to him. But this person, his father, if he is not able to stay with his father, that is more priceless for him, and I will put the government machinery for this purpose. So when you go to the court, the aspect, the vision of a court is not that of a businessman. They look at strictly from law point. They want the provisions of law which are in the favor of the person, that you have to point out to them. And the first factor which you require is the balance of convenience. Your whole case, the funda of your case to get an ad interim injunction rests on the balance of convenience. What is the urgency and why is the balance of convenience in your favor? These 2 points, if you are able to convince the court, then you can get some sympathy from the court as far as getting the orders are concerned. For example, let's take, this is a matter of redevelopment. The person, the builder, is a relative, his secretary is a relative, is a spouse. Then that comes a case, it makes out the case that proper procedure compliances are not being done. Then it's not necessary that supposing one builder is offering 75%, another offering 25%. There is no law that you cannot give the matter to the person who is offering you 25%. It's not necessary that you should offer it to 75% who is giving you extra. So these are the common misconceptions in our mind that because he is offering more, we have to give him. There are certain statutory, as it has been explained by our architect friend, the modalities, the 3/4 members majority, etc. So the law provisions are meant to be strictly complied with, which get a weightage. You should also know to use the hidden provisions in law. For example, Mr. X is a senior citizen and he has got some legal injury and he wants to go to the court. The High Court has given direction, has issued a circular to the various courts subordinate to it, that if any application comes from a senior citizen, because he has got limited years of life to live, if the court feels appropriate, they can expedite his matter. Unless you make a miscellaneous application to the court, highlighting that I am a senior citizen, this is my documentary proof, ration card, birth certificate, passport, ration card, etc., which goes on to show his age, then unless you tell the court is not going to expedite it because there is a big bunch of queues which is pending. This is one example where you can take it. Now, legal injury, if third-party interests have already been created in the property which are concealed, like that sort of things are brought. For example, there is the builder already tries to mortgage the property even before getting the property vacated from the premises. People vacated from the premises, we create third-party bank loan. He puts up a board for sale. Legally speaking, a builder cannot even put up the sheets in front of the building unless he vacates the building, unless he gets the commencement certificate and puts up this thing. There is vast difference between IOD and CC. IOD is the first good step. commencement certificate commences means all the property, all the premises move out of the property. On that it goes. Regulation 23G talks in terms of reservation RG area. It varies from 15% to 25% on the plot of land. Builders sometimes sell these things also. So you have to take it very, very minutely, you have to see what it is there. Now let's talk in terms of a project. Builder says I will take 3 years to complete it. Some members should hit him. If you don't complete in 3 years, what then what? Builder will say very calmly, will say, okay, I'll increase the rent. Okay, after 3.5 years you have not completed, then what? So the words which you want to terminate his agreement, to set aside him and appoint another developer to complete the contract, that should come from his own mouth. And if he is not coming, some of you should be very blunt and tell him that you are hardly investing 5 or 10% or 20% of the cost compared to the property value today. Why should we let out our safety to you for your 20% thing? Our value is more and this is our life saving. So like this, you have to do the proper research and put the right things in the right way. I would suggest to you that even before you go for redevelopment, the clauses before finalizing a development, you should have a specific clauses, acceptable, not acceptable. And the moment the builder comes to you, specific when you say on your agreement draft, which page, which para this clause is appearing, you show us. This was one of the judgments which I mentioned. But don't just get carried away. This is important. Decision taken by the majority of the members of the society's general body for the redevelopment shall prevail over the minority while this thing, while infrastructure. But if the managing committee violates the laid down rules or resorts to corrupt practice, non-transparency, fraud or cheating, the same can be challenged by minority and get appropriate judgment. The law never restricts the right of the minority members provided there is some merit in the disagreement. As I mentioned you, operation. See, the general body supreme only when there is decisions is in the framework of law. So don't just get carried away, but because I am majority, I have got this, I can do it. You should be transparent, reasonable, because sometimes I have seen the critic is our biggest friend. What we cannot learn, what we cannot speak, he brings ready-made to you, and unfortunately because he has got a label, we don't recognize his submissions. This happens many times. But there are many fine points which are brought in front of us. Even here is another judgment of Ardun, this thing, which says that even one objection cannot be ignored despite majority. So it's not just a blanket flow that just you have got majority so you are bound to win. It is important that the minority members have merits in the objection raised by them per the rule of majority is not the solution, whether it is redevelopment or any other matter in the society. This is another judgment, Workman developers. The redevelopment process, builder thing, it does not come within the ambit of section 91 of the MCS Act. So, builders prefer the society going and challenging the member because they share 3 lakh rupees on the court fee which has got to be paid. So, this is very clear, this judgment and Mayfair's judgment that cooperative court does not have jurisdiction. Why it does not have jurisdiction? The sole reason for it is the object clause of the bylaws of the cooperative society do not have the talk of any mention about redevelopment. Our act came in the year 1960. So in 1960 this concept was not prevalent. In fact, we have made a representation to the registrar, and I will suggest each and every one of you, the office bearers sitting here, that if you want to go for redevelopment, the first thing which you should do is you should amend your bylaws. You should amend your society's bylaws so you can drag it to cooperative court. Now see, a judge of a cooperative court, day and night, 24/7, he is only dealing with problems of cooperative societies. So he is well aware of the mentality of the member, he is well aware of the mentality of the developer, he is well aware of the mentality of the critic member. He knows the things much better than a person who is dealing in part-time or a few matters in cooperative societies. I don't say that senior is not more knowledgeable to him, certainly he is, but the approach, the practical aspect and the practical knowledge of a cooperative court judge is much more than that of a other judge, because 24/7 he is in this field. Suit between developer and the society members cannot be disputed. Suit between developer and the society between developer and the society members cannot be disputed. Suit between developer and society members cannot be disputed. Repeatedly it has been emphasized because that ratio of relationship there and the object clause is there. So if you have got your object clause amended, then you have a good chance to go to cooperative court and get your dispute resolved at the cooperative court itself. Same way, section 91 jurisdiction it comes covered. As I mentioned, subject matter of disputes and parties to the same. That will get covered in 91 if you get your bylaws amended. Statutory notice not required. Apart, when we talk of redevelopment, obviously the property card should be in our name. There are so many things talked about MOFA. Let me tell you a few more things. The new law which is coming is going to make life miserable for the flat purchasers. There is no two doubts about it. Tomorrow, if you do a small change in your flat, anyone can challenge you that you have merged your flat, you have opened the flat. So 10,000 rupees penalty per day. The law provides that. And sadly, our politician friends and the draftsmen have just gone tilted by the submissions, and unfortunately life of flat purchasers will be very much miserable once the new act comes. That is my particular view of thinking, and that is how my interpretation of the regulatory act is concerned. This part of the judgment, my friend Uday Bhavikar has also helped me with this, deals with if you are a member, you have got certain issues pertaining to societies and the developer. You are a consumer and you can go to the consumer forum for deficiency of service, unfair trade practices, consumer courts rather, because forum, state commission or national commission. And there are various judgments pertaining to this. Landowner sharing of construction area, this is one such. Builder is a service provider. On the other hand, when a builder commits on obligations, he cannot approach this because he is not a consumer. District and state and national committed this thing. The second judgment is of Raja Construction, which was that landmark, that majority is supreme. There was one judgment against the Chembur Ashirwad, against RNA builders by the National Commission, which upheld that the flat purchaser is a consumer, and for living the rights, various rights, they are got right. The present dispute between minority members and majority members therefore will not be within the juice of this forum, or the order of the forum is set aside. So even if a minority member can go, this is the order of the National Commission which was set this thing. Here also is the same thing. Builder is keen on demolishing whatever this thing is. The individual flat purchaser is a consumer and he can go against it. Here is the ACNO's judgment, landmark as well as Switi Agarwal. This particular matter I was associated with it, so I know the ins and outs. Practically a minority was there. They had a very good shop view and had very good height, and the builder on the guise of majority said nothing doing, will give you less open space, low open exposure to the main road as well as the height. And ultimately they got a good particular thing in this judgment. A single member can stay the redevelopment only if there is a fraud, and many of these things are true. Where is this thing, 70% consent if it is a tenanted building, but that is not the end of it, friends. This judgment talks in terms of that. Though there may be 70% consent, that does not mean blanket the tenants will lose their right. Here also there was a dispute between two developers. Ultimately, there's a matter of prayer what the builder wanted. Both were builders, only the WWF building the builders. The earlier contract had to be taken into consideration. Friends, we have to respect time, and that's why I had gone fast. I am thankful to Ramesh Prabhu, DNA, and others to give me an opportunity to express my views. Thank you, friends.